Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gift. In this video I'll be making these beautiful shorts. I'll be drafting the pattern first before cutting my fabric. So I'll be drafting the front pattern. At the top of the paper I'm going to rule a straight line which is going to serve as the waistline. From the waistline I'm going to take my crotch depth. So I'm going to divide my hip measurement by 4 plus 1.5 inches seam allowance. So that will be the measurement I'll be using for my crotch depth. Then I'm going to rule a straight line across the dots I marked there. From the crotch line I'm going to come down by 3 inches as my tie line. Then I'm going to rule a straight line across the line there. Then I'm going to mark the length of the pants. So from the waistline I'm going to mark the length. So I'll be marking 16 inches as the length. Then I'm going to add 3 inches seam allowance to it for the folding, making it 19 inches. So I marked 19 inches as the length of the pants. So I'm going to label the lines first. So this one is my crotch line, my waistline at the top, then the tie line and the short length. On the crotch line I'm going to mark my hip measurements divided by 4 plus 1 inch seam allowance. Then whatever I have there I'm going to mark it on my waistline. So I'm going to check what I have here and I'm going to mark it on my waistline as well. Then I'm going to connect the two dots together on a straight line. For the crotch extension, I'm going to divide my hip measurement into 4. Whatever I have, I'm going to divide it into 4 again. So I had 2.5 inches. So from the center of the line like this, I'm going to go up by 1 inch. Then I'm going to connect it back to the crotch line like this in a slopey or in a slanted way. On the waistline, I'm going to mark my waist measurement divided by 4 plus 2 inches seam allowance, 1 inch for the dart and 1 inch for the sewing allowance. On my crotch line, I'm going to mark my hip measurements divided by 4 plus 1 inch seam allowance. Then I'm going to connect the waist measurement to the hip measurement like this. So I want the shorts to be free, so I'm going to leave whatever I have here and extend it to the length of the shorts like this. So I'm going to use my ruler and extend it to the length. So if you want to make adjustments here to make your shorts more fitted, you can go ahead and mark the measurements on your tie line before connecting it to the shorts length. So from the top of the shorts on the waistline like this, I'm going to come down by half an inch. Then I'm going to connect it to the other side of the waist in a slanted way. Then I'm going to cut out the excess part of the paper I don't need. So this is the front part and I'm going to use it to draft the back. So I pinned this front pattern on another fresh paper like this. Then I'm going to draft the back. First of all, I'm going to extend the crotch line for the back. So I'll be marking the 2.5 inches we marked for the front earlier. Then I'm going to extend it out on a straight line. Then from the crotch line, from the crotch extension line, I'm going to come down by 1/2 inch. From the center of the front pattern, I'm going to go in by 2 inches like this, and I'll make sure I mark it on the back pattern. So I went in by 2 inches. On the other side of the paper, I'm going to go out by 2 inches from the waistline also. So on this point, I'm going to go up by 1 inch. So if you have a bigger butt, you should go up by 1.5 inch. So I'm going to connect from that 1 inch to this other point where I marked the 2 inches in a slanted way like this. And this is going to serve as the new waistline for the back. So I'm going to use my free hand to connect the waist to the crotch extension line like this. I'm going to connect the side down like this from the waistline. So I'm just going to follow these measurements and connect it down. Before I do that, I'm going to extend my crotch line out on the back pattern. Then I'm going to connect this to that point. Then and connect the rest to the short length. So for the length for the back, I'm going to maintain the same length for the front. So I'm going to place my ruler on it like this and trace it on the back pattern. Then I'm going to extend the crotch extension line down like this to this point. I'm just going to use my marker to make this line more visible. Then I'm going to cut out the excess part of the back. So before I cut out this side, I forgot to add my zipper allowance. So from the waistline, I'm going to come down by 9 inches. That's where I want my zipper to stop. Then I'm going to be adding 1 inch like this. So I'm going to be adding 1 inch to the side to the point where the 9 inches, the length of the zipper is. Then I'm going to blend the line back into this point like this with my free hand. So I'm going to extend my waistline to the zipper allowance. Then I'm going to use my free hand to blend it back into the line like this. So this is the back pattern and this is the front pattern. Now I'm going to be marking the dots on the pattern separately. So for the front pattern, for the dots, I'm going to divide the waist going to divide the waistline into two equal parts by folding my tape on each other like this. Then I'm going to mark the center. I'm going to come down by 3 inches from that point. Then I'm going to connect it on a straight line down. Then I'm going to go out by half an inch on both sides of the dart line. Then I'm going to connect it back to the dart line like this. For the back depth, from my zipper allowance on the waistline, I'm going to divide the waist into two equal parts. Then I'm going to come down by 4 inches. Then I'm going to connect the 2 points to each other on a straight line. Then I'm going to go out by half an inch on both sides of the dart line. Then I'm going to connect them back to the dart line like this. So I'm going to label this as the back, and I'm going to use both patterns to cut my fabric. So this is my front fabric. So I added half an inch to the crotch area like this. You can see the way it is. So I'm going to notch the dart on the fabric. I'll fold everything together like this, and I'm going to notch the center of the dart so it will be visible on the fabric. Then I'm going to remove the paper from the fabric. So I have two pieces of fabric for the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the two right sides of the fabric on each other like this. Then I'm going to stitch this crotch area together with half an inch like this. So I'm just going to follow this shape I'm sketching on the fabric. So this is the back. I have two pieces for it also. So I'm going to notch the center of the dart like this. Then I'm going to notch the zipper allowance on the fabric. So just fold your paper and your fabric together so the knot should be visible on the fabric, and you know where to take your dart, and you know where to iron your zipper allowance. So I'm going to remove the paper from the fabric like this. Then I'm going to place the two right sides of the fabric on each other. Then I'm going to stitch them together following this shape. So I'm going to use my chalk to sketch it out. So I'm just going to join this part with a loose stitch first, because I'm going to lose it and add my zipper. So I'm just going to join it to the end. So I'm done stitching the front together. So I went ahead to take my darts for both sides of the fabric, and this is what I have. For the back also, I went ahead to stitch it, and I took the darts for both sides. Now I'm going to close the side of the pants. I'm going to place the two right sides of the fabric on each other. Then I'm going to close the side like this. So I'm going to drag the fabric to the side. Then I'm going to stitch it the way I'm sketching it like this, on a straight line to the end of the fabric. Then I'm going to drag the fabric to the other side of the the fabric also, and I'm going to stitch it together. So I'm done closing the side of the pants, and this is what I have. Now I'm going to join the crotch area together. So I'm going to place the two centers on each other. Then I'm going to pin. So I'm doing this so that the two centers will sit directly on each other, and the ends of the trousers of the fabric will be even. So after pinning it, I'm going to stitch them together. Now I'm going to open up the zipper allowance. After opening it up, I'm going to be adding my band to the waist of my pants. So this is the fabric I'll be using for the band. The length is 5 inches, so I'm going to fold it into 2 equal parts like this. When I fold it, it's going to be 2.5 inches on a fold, so I'm going to use half an inch to stitch it to my pants. So the length of the band that's going to remain is 2 inches, so you can make yours 1.5 inch. It depends on how wide you want your band to be. So for you to get the width of the band, you're going to take your tape around the waist of your pants and measure it around. Whatever you have will be the width of the fabric you're going to cut. So I had 31 inches, so this fabric that I'll be using for my band is 32 inches. You can make it the same length, or you can actually make it longer. So I'm going to place the right side of the band on the right side of the fabric, then I'm going to stitch it to the fabric round like this. After adding the band, I'm going to add my zipper. So I'm done adding the band. I added my zipper to the pants, and this is what I have. Now I'm going to iron it. So you can see the difference after I iron the fabric. The fabric is more flat and neater. So I'm going to fold 3 inches in like this. So I used my iron earlier to fold it, so I'm just going to take it in like this. After folding the 3 inches in, I'm going to fold 1 inch on the top of the fabric like this. So I'm going to fold it up like this. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. So I'm just going to use my tape to check if it's the 1 inch. So this is 1 inch. I'm going to fold it round, so I'm going to use my tape to hold it, then I'm going to fold it round. After folding it round, it's either you iron it with an hemming gum, or you sew it round. So it will not fall back. So I'm keep folding the 1 inch, and I'm going to use my pin to hold it down. So why I folded 3 inches in is that when I fold this one up, the rough edges of the pants will not be showing on the side, so you can see the side and everything is neat because of the 3 inches inside already. So I'm going to iron this with an hemming gum. I'm going to do the same thing for the other leg of the fabric. After ironing it with hemming gum, I'm going to sew it round. So you can decide not to sew it round. The gum is enough to hold it. So with this, we have come to the end of this tutorial. Thanks for watching to this point, and I'll see you in my next video.